Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series where we review every single Capcom CPS, CP System Dash, CPS2, and CPS3 game ever made, and today we're taking a look at Puzzle Loop 2. And considering the CPS2 was so heavy with fighting games, it's a breath of fresh air to get a different genre in there. And you've probably seen the concept of Puzzle Loop 2 before, but Puzzle Loop did it first. This is the sequel on the CPS2, but I'll talk a little bit more about the history of this game and genre. Before we get too far involved though, if they give me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down there as well. You've probably seen Puzzle Loop 2, or the original Puzzle Loop. You may know it as Zuma, because that was a super popular game in 2000, but that borrowed basically the entire concept of Puzzle Loop, so much so that Mitchell Corporation, the developers of this game, sued for copyright infringement from the makers. So if you're ever wondering where this concept came from first, it seems like Puzzle Loop did it originally. But it is the simplest game in the world, but that simplicity gets completely overrun by sheer hecticness. The first level you're going to see is extremely easy to beat. It's just teaching you how everything works. But now that we're even onto the second stage, suddenly things are going to get a lot more busy. You'll see that tornado there just completely blew that colored ball right past me. The entire hook of the game is make a set of 3 or more colors, and those will be eliminated from the Puzzle Loop. And you can see there, if you put the right color in the right spot, you can chain combos together and really start knocking out a lot of the balls in front of you. If those balls get into the red line, the warning timer starts going off. If they get to the green line, your game is over and you need to continue. Think of it like Tetris. If the tetrominos get too high in the playfield and go past that magic line, your game is over. In this instance, we're just worrying more about if they get to the line in a circle. You'll see here, I did this intentionally so I could talk about it, but once you get into that red area, the music changes, everything gets frantic, and you really need to work double time because you're about ready to lose. Like I said, this is an extremely simple concept. You can learn the mechanics of how Puzzle Loop works in about 10 seconds. I don't know if maybe if you're colorblind it might be harder, but honestly, anybody could pick up and play this game. But the fun becomes just how challenging the game really gets as you get further on into the levels, because even now, things are getting a little bit harder. We were able to chain that combo together and really knock some of those colored balls back, but if we had missed a shot or we hadn't gotten that combo, we'd be pretty close to losing right now. And you'll see that there's clear bubbles as well. Those can act as any color you want. Just hit something next to them and they're going to be perfectly fine. But you will see now that some of the balls are going to go behind this wall here and we actually can't hit them. And we have 2 of the same color ball in our inventory. We can shoot those off into the distance and just get rid of them for something different, but it reduces the score ever so slightly. So if you can be patient and you are worried about the high score, you're able to more wait around and make sure you can connect with the right thing. Because you'll see once you make a gap between the leading area and what's coming behind it, those aren't going to move forward until they get momentum from the back. So moving on again, everything's getting even crazier. Now we have those colored balls going through a portal and there's a gap in them. We also have these treasure chests that we can try to work out what they do. You'll see there we get a little bit of a chain and we're able to slow things down. But it's a very simple mechanic, but I always love these arcade games. I love Puzzle Bobble, I love Mighty Pang, I love Puzzle Loop because they give us something different to do, because not every single arcade game needs to be super high intensity action packed. I mean, we've got beat 'em ups, we've got racing games, fighting games, but the puzzle game is really the unsung hero of arcade games because these are the type of things that probably have the most replayability, because every single time you play them it's going to be slightly different. You're going to get slightly further into the game and you're really going to enjoy it. You know, there's not an infinite amount of variability in Puzzle Loop, but there's enough that you can really play a lot of it. And you'll see there that I was able to hit that clock and slow everything down. Everything stops moving to give us a little bit more of a head start against actually losing, because we are getting pretty close to this point in time. And anytime you miss a shot, it pushes the end of the game that much closer to you. But even the music ramps up, it starts getting hectic. If you make a mistake, it's on you because you have a pointer the entire time. It's not asking you to make shots blindly, something like Puzzle Bobble does where you really need to guess. And I should have seen this coming, but I completely missed it. And that's my fault that I lose the first match. I wasn't paying attention because I got a little nervous. But I would say the music's also awesome in this game, so enjoy it for about 30 to 45 seconds, and I'll come back and tell you more why you should be playing more arcade puzzle games if you're not. It's a jaunty music soundtrack. It's nothing spectacular, but it perfectly fits the bill. But what I love so much about Puzz Loop and Puzz Loop 2 is just how impactful this game was on the gaming landscape, because there's 100 different clones of this on the iOS store right now. Zuma got huge and it caused a lawsuit with Mitchell Corporation. But when Puzz Loop came out, this was the first time this particular type of puzzle game had ever been seen before, unless there's some rare esoteric example, some fan game made in Japan or something. This was the first time a game like this had ever been made, and now it is so ingrained in the public consciousness. I'm sure if you've never played Puzz Loop before, you probably played a game that had this exact same mechanic, which was match 3 or more of the same colored ball while they're spiraling in trying to hit you. And you'll see here that we have 2 different tracks as well that we're having to deal with. So now the game's giving us even more. We're working on 2 different spirals at the same time. And that's what I love so much about this game, is that it's never resting on what it is that you know. It's always throwing something new and something fresh at you. And if you're playing well, everything starts to click and you're feeling great. But I will say that the game definitely gets a lot harder, and it gives you different courses to go as well. So there is a decent amount of replayability in Puzz Loop 2. Is this going to be the type of game that's going to get you as much gameplay as something like Street Fighter Alpha 3? Probably not, but if you've been playing a lot of arcade games and you're just looking for a breath of fresh air, Puzz Loop 2 is an awesome game. I love what it does with the classic puzzle formula. It kind of feels like Puzzle Bobble, had a baby and out came Puzz Loop. But short of that, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Are you into these type of arcade games? If you played it before, what do you think about it? But I will be back next Wednesday with an episode in the CPS review series, and I'll have videos throughout the week as well. But you can see that tornado there just threw that ball out of the way, and that's what happens. As you get further into this game, things just get wild, and you have almost no time whatsoever to think about what you're doing. You have to operate on pure instinct and pure knowledge and pure muscle memory. And if you play this game a lot, you start getting really good at it really quickly. But yeah, if you've never played Puzz Loop before, I 100% definitely recommend you check it out, even if I did just manage to lose. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.